Hello everyone, my name's Samra Mayanja and my text entitled Our Vicky is included in the publication Commemorative Space, Artist Reflections on Monumentality, edited by the curious and dynamic art historian Rebecca Senior. I was umming and ahhing about how to introduce my text, but then I thought, how can this introduction be another opening into or an exploration of and a window out of the text? So let's start with where it started and see where we end up. In part, it unfolded from a conversation with Rebecca Senior in which we spoke about flesh and blood pumping bodies. And we also spoke about how statues had been equated to flesh and blood pumping bodies. We spoke of fading buildings that become monuments to a community in their absence and spoken renditions of these spaces. We spoke about discourse around the stuff of commemoration on every side of the Atlantic, and I'm wondering now what the Atlantic thinks of commemoration and all this chatter. In the summer of 2020, Leeds City Council had published a public survey with the intention of reviewing statues in Leeds through community dialogue. In January 2021, when I came to write my text, I knew that I wanted to write a response to the survey. But it had vanished. It was published swiftly and quietly, with little to no wide-scale effort to garner meaningful engagement with it, so it makes sense that something that didn't surface would sink. Determined to find it, I finally emailed someone from the council who said, "I hope that you are well. Please see the link to the Executive Board report regarding the Leeds Statue Review, Item 63. These reports contain all the information we can publish regarding the review." I was too late and outside of the castle. The consultation ended on the 10th of August and there were 813 responses received, of which 41 were not relevant or were duplicated, so 772 were analysed. So I decided to create my own survey and respond to it. Hardly rigorous research method, but nor is a sample size of 772 in a city of over 1.5 million inhabitants. My approach, however, I hope, holds a kind of poetic rigour, or at least a desire to edge towards it. I wanted to prioritise devising questions with enough space in them for the edges of the page to be felt and crossed, or in other words, room to say what the question had failed to make space for. Questions for learning and noticing oneself in relation to statues, or more broadly monumentality, or more broadly what it is to remember and forget in the same moment. And I hoped for questions for a deep dive. My questions, or rather the questions from the Department of Poetics, were as follows. 1. Do you see the public statues? If not, why? If so, what do they mean to you? 2. Can you tell us about other monuments in your area? 3. Where do you go for guidance? 4. How will we use statues in Leeds? 5. Are there monuments that you miss? The fifth question and respective response is the one that you all are able to read in the publication. I'm sharing these questions with you for two reasons. Firstly, just in case anyone watching happened to save a copy of or submit their responses to Leeds City Council's initial survey, and is up for sending me any insights into how that survey might sit in relation to the questions offered by the Department of Poetics. 2, just in case anyone from Leeds City Council is watching and is thinking about their next public dialogue and wants the support of the Department of Poetics, we're here. We specialise in generating and unpicking the unseen, imagined, felt and intuited. We're also practised in interrogating and breaking words, symbols, gestures and meaning, and also really good at stoking the emergence of something else. I suppose this introduction has become a somewhat budget effort to recruit for the Department of Poetics and advertise our services. Jokes aside though, Where was the public dialogue? Because I wasn't invited. Were you? Where was the space but the boxes of a survey that does not want to be found? Couldn't a public dialogue be something to do with reciprocity, mutual regard, exploration, and arriving at some place we all didn't know of? In the future, the Department of Poetics are happy to be invited, for a fee of course, to hold the tenderness and discomfort of public dialogue, to facilitate personal reflection and collective contemplation, and to shift our perspective on the subject of any public conversation that we feel that we can make a solid contribution towards. Our methods attempt to hold multiplicity. And by multiplicity, I mean that a statue can be pulled down, celebrated, detested, contested, and televised all in the same moment, and that perhaps we can begin the conversation there, as opposed to a constraining polarity, keep 'em up or pull 'em down. Our methods invite people to observe where contradiction lands in the body, noticing it as it gets stuck or moves through you, as in locating those sensations of a tight throat when someone says, pull 'em down, or a clenched jaw when another says, keep 'em up, and recognising that there are sensations and responses in and beyond what I've outlined here, all of which are multiplicitous to the nth degree.